use that first Wednesday of April, knowing that the second Wednesday for us to kind of go over the budget type stuff, so we don't try to cram it all into one meeting. And so I think let's, if the board's okay with it, let's try to set a special meeting, if library availability, for the first Wednesday of April, and then we'll have our normal meeting, or not, excuse me, yeah, the normal meeting is the second of April, right?
Yeah, the second,
So maybe if we can get all our numbers in there and get some more info, the first meeting in April, first week, Wednesday of April would be good. Don't you think?
okay,
That's April 7th.
yes.
That
Or
way
you could do the 31st of March.
Either way, whatever the commission, either one, either the 31st or the 7th. I think if we did the 7th, we allow a little more time for the revenues and the numbers to come in, rather than if we did the 31st, we'd have 2 weeks. So if we give an extra week, just to cover us, to make sure we get all the numbers in, is that okay? Or
If we do it on the 31st, I will not have the numbers in the backup materials, but I can present them at the meeting. It gives you a little bit longer time to digest them. If you want those numbers in the backup material before the meeting, then we're going to have to go ahead and go to the 7th, the April 7th meeting, because when I get those numbers in, I won't get them in, and they're usually in late, like at 5 o'clock on the 25th, and that's too late for Nicole to post with backup. So that would be the difference between the 31st and the 7th. So if you do want that provided out in the packets, and so you have time to digest it before we walk into the meeting, I would suggest the 7th.
I think
Works for me.
that's good. I'm good. Is everybody else okay with the 7th? At 9 a.m., is that okay, Elizabeth? Is it just a regular, like a Wednesday 9 a.m. meeting on the 7th of April to go, just to go over the numbers with the budget?
That is fine with me.
Is the commission all okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll set that down. You got anything else on this, Elizabeth? Are we gonna go over anything else before we?
Nope, are there any directions or anything that you would like more information on in what we've covered over the past 3 days? So that when we come in then, on the 24th, I can have that data available. I've made notes as we've gone through as to the changes you want. You'll see that on the next printout you receive on the 24th. And I will have a new edition summary. I've broken out by positions and non-payroll expenses, and I will go ahead and have your estimated fund balances to see if we have any exception to NRS as far as going into a negative fund balance situation. And I'll work on the items we've outlined so far.
You could include if there's a request for new staff.
Okay?
That would be helpful. So, non-payroll unless we're asking for an additional staff member, that helps. And personally, I don't know how anybody else feels, I'm not sure that I would need any kind of breakdown of wages and benefits, just a total round number cost,
Okay.
estimate or high-end estimates, so we know what to do. But, yeah,
So for the new staff request, just give you a total new cost for
Yeah.
that, okay,
Yeah, just total for each new
position,
and then we can mess around with it.
okay.
Anyone else got anything? I would like to, because I'm really concerned about the amount of money we put in for the capital improvement on the remodel of the courthouse. I know we increased it to 750,000, but I'm almost positive that building's gonna cost us a lot more than that, and, or maybe whatever else we got. So on the capital improvements, can we look at increasing that amount or being prepared? Because 750 and anyways, Delta Net construction is pretty expensive, and we got that courthouse we're gonna bring everybody down to. We're gonna be looking at space and remodeling, and it's gonna cost. But if we have a little extra in there, that's okay, because we can always put it back. But if we don't have enough, we're gonna have to, I just, unless the commission disagrees, I have a real concern about that going over 750. I just firmly believe that's gonna happen.
Okay, I will go ahead and take a look at that. just so you're aware, there are limits in NRS and how much we can transfer as the county commission from your general fund into a capital improvement fund. I believe it's at 10% of total expenditures, so we can probably go up from 750, but we need to make sure we stay within that limitation.
Okay.
So I'll check that out and make sure I come back with a recommendation that's consistent with that.
Anybody else got anything? That's just a concern of mine. Okay, if that's it, and we still haven't had anybody on ag extension, is there anything we can do with ag extension without them, or should we just recess and?
Well, I put that information in the backup. Did anybody have any questions on what they have submitted?
Okay, go back to ag extension, and anybody got anything for that? So that you looked at? Because we want to give them a fair shake here. So as we look, I don't see anything.
The only reason they would need to be on is if we had something to discuss, so.
They have shown that their revenues and expenditures are balanced, so it's not like they're asking for an excess amount of funds. I think it would be good to get them on here before we hit final, just to make sure, because we do have the lease that expires at 6/30. And we haven't had an extension educator here for a significant length of time. So it may be good to question them on those things related to next year's budget. But other than that, I can see specifically if someone will be available for your 3/24 meeting,
Yeah, or the 7th.
or the 7th, okay.
Okay, that being said, and going where we're at, we got about 7 or 8 minutes before the meeting starts. Let's take a quick break, come back at 9:30 and open the regular scheduled county commission meeting. I don't have to read, do the silence and stuff like that, right?
You do have to do public comment though.
Well, we did public comment.
You got public comment for the fire?
Yeah, fire.
So, we won't. Okay, first thing we're gonna do, we're going back, we're gonna try to help Lori out here. Go to page 4, item 2, and it's under Department Head Lori Romero, the Senior Program Administrator, and it's item A, discussion for possible action, the approval to accept the EJC Foundation funds in the amount of $8,000, and there is no match. Is that right, Lori?
Correct.
Okay.
Each year, the EJC Foundation has certain agencies they set aside funds for, and White Plains Nutrition Program is one of them. This year, they had set aside $8,000 for us, and then they contacted us to see how we wanted to use those funds. In talking with staff, we have some kitchen equipment that needs replaced, that's been there for ages, like the steam table. So we put $3,700 towards kitchen equipment. In the last 2 years, the same foundation has helped us pay for our dishwasher rental, which falls into our budget. So we have put another 2 years of their funds towards the dishwasher rental, which is $2,100. And then we're in need of new computers in the office, so we're going to go for 2 new computers in the office, which is another $2,200 approximately, so it brings it up to that $8,000. So we just need your guys' blessing in accepting the $8,000 for those uses.
Move to approve.
Motion by Travis,
Second?
second by Ian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Passed unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we will open we will recess the county commission meeting, and we'll open the 9:30 fire commission meeting on page 2. And the first item on the fire commission meeting is public comment. Is there any public comment on the phone for the fire commission meeting? Anyone, Mike?
No, sir.
Okay, in the audience, is anyone, public comment? George, please come forward.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I've asked in the past, and I'm asking again, if the fire chief has had a chance to inspect the ingress egress on Avenue D, accessing Highway 93 near the new Holiday Inn. Again, that road is much too narrow to allow an emergency vehicle access, let alone a large fire truck or ladder truck. The Holiday Inn is a 3-story structure. The city has failed miserably to address that situation. There is no proper ADA access alongside the Van Camp junkyard. The curb should have been installed back another 6 feet to allow for a wider road. The county and the city needs to hire engineers and inspectors to know what they're doing and abide by codes. Why do we adopt these codes if you guys aren't gonna abide by them, Mr. Chairman? You're paying big money for professionals and no answers. I want some answers. That facility should be a bright spot in this community, not facing what they're facing now. And when you put it in, it meets code, city code, county code, and you also have to take care of your first responders. You're gonna have a major accident on getting to that scene at that particular intersection. Poorly drawn, poorly planned. You need to address it, and I want an answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all today? Okay. Anyone else on the phone? One last call for public comment. Is anybody got public comment? Seeing none? Anyone else in the audience? One last call. Hearing none. We'll move on with the regular scheduled items. Page 2, item B. The item 1 is discussion and update on fire district progress. Brett North, Fire Chief, and Pat Storrs, volunteer fire.
Let me have my agenda when you come back.
Good morning.
Morning, Brett.
Pat was absent today. They're doing interviews for their second position or their fourth position up in the city that they need to hire, so he was unable to make it.
Okay.
He didn't have nothing to update, so. I don't have a lot. It's been pretty slow, just day-to-day stuff. Getting a lot of little stuff done at the buildings right now. Kind of tying all that up. Emergency management side, we've been doing vaccines. We're down into the 16 to 49 or 64-year-old with underlying conditions. That's moving along good. We're gonna start working on a plan, so by May 1st, we can have authority back to the counties to open up. So we gotta write up mitigation and contingency plans for that, so that'll be consuming some time in the next couple of weeks, so. Other than that, unless you got any questions.
On the emergency management side, I got that email yesterday. I forwarded it to you and to Darren and you, Elizabeth. So we can get on the same page between the three of you, who's gonna be the White Pine County representative on that call on Friday. Have you talked to Darren or Elizabeth, or do we?
No, I was just gonna be the representative, because it's the beginning talks, because I'm gonna end up being the one that does the plan, so.
That's why I said it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
Anybody else got something?
Did you want to just mention anything in regards to your conversation with JJ? Just so that it's a status and
Yeah.
we don't know much more than what we knew before.
So I dug into the building out at Cold Creek Fire Station.
Great.
The property is owned by Ken Ross. The building was built years and years ago by Bald Mountain and Mike Lemich. And JJ Gokashia had mentioned when I talked to him that maybe we ought to look at getting a chunk of property that he would be willing to give up and put a building up out there for a fire station. The trouble that happened now, they can't leave nothing in that one because it gets broken into. So they have to keep all their stuff that walks off easy in their pickups. And so that was an issue, and then no running water out it either. So the only way they could get water is to draft out of the tank. So he was hoping to maybe set something up back on his property, like 2 miles south, and he said, from where it's at now, and doing like a lease agreement with the county or something on the property. But we need to dig into that more. He didn't have a lot of time to talk when I talked to him, so it's something to look at, see what we can do, because, you know, they don't have a structure truck out there either. It's all wildland trucks, so that would be nice to get a structure engine out there as well for the mine and the man camp. So
names and see what
Yeah,
legally